welcome to a new edition of our Connecting East and West podcast series. With me, your host journalist, Luis Alberto Pino. Connecting East and West is an initiative by East Consulting, the leading business and legal advisory firm bridging businesses between Asia and Latin America. Connecting East and West is your monthly space dedicated to bringing helpful ideas and high caliber views on the business landscape of these two regions. And Connecting East and West by East Consulting is your partner to connect and get the most out of both worlds. And I'm sure you are going to enjoy the next 25 minutes of conversation with Alice soon. How are you, Alice?
Hi, thanks for having me, Luis. I'm great. How are you?
Fine, thanks. It's a great honor to have you join us from Beijing, by the way. It's 7:30 p.m. for you. It's too late in the day, so really helpful, really grateful for your for you being here with us today.
Thank
Um,
you. We need
Ali,
to be awake for the Latin people and then our guest, definitely.
that's right, that's right. Okay, well, Alice is the CEO and founder of OrcaMar Strategies, a firm established in 2024, primarily providing consulting services to enterprises in mainland China and Hong Kong for expanding their overseas businesses. The company focuses on overseas business strategies and institutional asset allocation and adheres to core values such as foresight and innovation, value co creation, harmony and diversity, and a humanistic spirit to provide consulting services to help businesses achieve success in the global market. And I know, and this is going to be part of our conversation today, that Alice and Orcamar, they both have a strong focus on Latin America. So, uh, Alice, I would like to begin by asking you about the story of your firm. I mean, the origins of your interest in Latin America. If you can tell us a little bit about that. I mean, how is that you created Orcamar? What was your initial goals and so on?
Sure. Thank you, Luis, for the questions. So I'm very happy to share the experiences. So first is that because I was graduated from the top university, Peking University, by that time I studied the international studies. And then it's almost 20 years. And then by that time, I also studied emerging markets. I found out that LATAM has the advantage, for example, in the economics, in the business, etc. So by that time, I also did some research in LATAM countries. And then in my university time, I visit Peru, I visit Brazil, visit Chile and Argentina to have this ground side visiting and research about Latin countries so that I can know the full picture of it. And then after I graduated, I had over 10 years experiences working in investment bank and asset management companies. So I was the head of international business for multiple Chinese companies when they want to expand global. So we covered a lot of business, for example, in Southeast Asia, in Middle East, in Europe, in America, and USA, etc. But then I also found that Latin countries has its advantage. Two things. One is it's so close to USA, but then we have like in Latin we have like a larger population, we have a larger GDP, etc. And then in Latin it's like a integrated world because a lot of countries speak Spanish and then share the similarity of the cultures. So if Chinese companies can expand to Latam just in one country, they can actually expand in other the Latam countries. So that's
Okay.
where my interest and then the ambition of doing business in Latam and helping these Chinese companies grow and invest in Latam begins.
And you began focusing on LATAM just from the get-go. I mean, from 2024, right? When you created your Orcamar strategies. So it
No,
was from the very beginning. or not?
It's from the very beginning. So it's already 20 years. So from the university research to the experiences when I was in investment banking and asset management. So it's very many years. And then 2 years ago, I founded OrcaMar Strategies because I quit that time from investment banking and asset management because I want to use these experiences I got from the Chinese companies going global to really focus to help them do something in Latam. So that's why I began this journey. And then also 3 years ago, because I really want to focus on Latam, so I started learning Spanish. I started to know more about the culture, etc.
Okay. Okay. So let's now talk about Latin America and China. I know you've been here in Latin America quite recently.
Yes.
First, I believe that you attended the 2025 Latin America Economic and Development Summit in Costa Rica. And
Yes.
then you also you were in Mexico having meetings with some family offices as well. And then also I think you toured some other countries, including Chile. So if you can tell us a little bit about your goals, what were you searching for, participating in those initiatives here in Latin America, and your main findings.
Sure, sure. This year I left Hong Kong in February, and I just returned back in September. So it's almost 7 months. I spent my the experiences and the months in Latam countries. So this year's ambition goals in Latam countries was three. First is that I already have clients who interested in Latam countries. For example, in Mexico, we have a lot of fintech clients, technology clients in Mexico, in Chile, in Argentina, Brazil. So this year was also I need to base in Latin countries to help them invest and cooperate there. So we've been serving as their annual consulting firm, helping them establish everything. So we run as a package service of helping them doing things one by one. For example, we buying the local license, the SOFOM, SOFIPO in Mexico, different license in Brazil for them to expand in Latam. And then also we help them to hire the local, for example, from the country head to, for example, the KYC manager and then the product manager there. And also we help them to build the ecosystem. So that is the first goal. The second is that I've been participating in different meetings. For example, the Costa Rica, the Latam Business Summit. And then also there's another one in Tecnología Monterrey. And there was also about the economics in Latam countries. Also, there's a meeting within the IMF and the World Bank, also about the economics, environment, and situation in Latin countries. So a lot of these meetings, not just participating, but then I've been invited as the guest speaker in several meetings because I want to talk about their in terms of the collaboration between China and Latin countries and what's the opportunities in Latin countries as a Chinese CEO. And then the third is that also build the local networks and the connections. For example, I've been living in a lot of countries for over a month to build the connections with the local law firms, tax advisors, government relations, public relations, marketing, sales, and also the local networks I have. So this is the experience that I have in the past half a year.
So out of those experiences in Latin America over the past few months, what would be your assessment as to the business environment opportunities between both regions? Would you say that we are going through some sort of flourishing period when it comes to business opportunities between Chinese companies in Latin America, and the other way around?
I'm thinking of three aspects. The first is that I think Latin country is like still a undiscovered the destiny for business opportunities. For example, there's a when I was with Ignacio and in the courses and in Chile, I shared that there's a huge information gap between China and Latin countries. For example, for a lot of Chinese companies, they may think, okay, Mexico is was cartel, Colombia just great fruits, Chile maybe just beautiful sceneries, but it's not true. For example, in terms of fintech, technology, technology, the car industries, manufacturings, new energies. Latin countries have a lot of advantages, and then people haven't discovered that. So that's one thing. The other
That,
thing is
that's what
that
you that's what you called the double blind spot, right?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes. And then
Interesting concept.
second, yeah, and second is that people may think a lot of Latin countries really, really rely on USA, but then it's not true. Some of the countries, some of the aspect or industries, yes, but then in terms of I found out that for all the Latin countries, they want to be really independent. They want to have more business with China. They want to have more business with other countries, not just rely on US. So this is the situation I found out. I think it's very, very worthwhile to work with Latin countries because when they are funding that, there is also a lot of space and opportunities that Chinese companies can work with.
And when it comes to the perceptions or image of China in Latin American countries, what would you say are the main, let's say, features? Um, what are the main perceptions? Would you say that there's also some sort of blind spot when it comes to Chinese perception in Latin American countries between the business community?
Yeah, I think for example, one thing that also Latin countries doesn't understand is that China is not just a old factory. It's many many things. It's every aspect with technology. For
Hmm.
example, there's like a very very minor things, very minor manufacturing things. China can use the AI and then new technology to rebuild it. So this is the Chinese business model. I think it's going to be really popular and then really useful in Latin countries. So when we are talking about that, it not just like export and imports. It's not just manufacturing, but then it's also we can build the different aspect and different sectors in Latin countries. We can make that with a lot of Chinese advanced technology. We can even make the life of the local people better because now we can apply the Chinese technology and then business models to different Latin countries. So for example, when I was in Mexico, there are this taco trucks, little trucks selling the tacos on the street. For example, China has this kind of machines that we can export to Mexico, and then with that machine, people can be safer. People don't need to be like standing there doing the tacos every day. They can use this automatic machines to make life easier. So this is the Chinese business model. We think it's also very very important to apply to Latin countries, and also when we look at the business model Europe and USA they're more like they've been developing for a lot of years and they have their advantage. But then I think the business landscape in terms of China and Latin countries are actually very similar. For example, we've been also like China just developed for 30 years, and then in a lot of the aspect we're the top one. And then also Chinese people and Latin people are we care about family. It's very like relationship driven, and then we care about environment. We're like very ESG driven and very adopted to the social, for example, the regulations, the concept, and then diplomatic things of the family, and then a lot of aspect like conservative. So I think these are the aspect that China and Latam should work together.
Okay, so one thing that I conclude out of your words is that, in your view, Chinese investment in Latin America is also diversifying, right?
Yes,
I
yes.
see a lot of enters on sectors such as innovation, yeah, AI related investment as well. I mean, sectors that are different from the traditional ones where we used to see Chinese investment, such as infrastructure, I don't know, energy, big investment in public infrastructure, for example. No? So now we're seeing more Chinese investment in I would say innovation. Is that your view as well?
Yes, yes, yes. So when we're talking about this new like trends of Chinese companies going
Mm.
global, it's mainly it's not just like one or two companies. It's like
Uh-huh.
every sector is want to do the globalization, and then
Uh-huh.
it's not just big companies, but then it's from the middle-sized, small-sized companies. It's everybody want to do business international. So this is the trend, and beside that, it's also like a lot of the technology driven. For example, we can have this manufacturing with AI, technology with AI, or like fintech with AI. So a lot of these aspects is the new Chinese globalization. So recently in September, I had a new book launched. So it's called The New Globalizers. So the first vision is in Chinese, but then next year it will be translated to English and Spanish. So it talks about the new models of the Chinese globalization.
And when it comes to Chinese companies globalizing, what would you
Mhm.
say are the main drivers, the main characteristics of the Chinese way of globalization, if you want? I mean, of globalizing. What would be those main features?
I think the reasons one is that because China is has having the development and reform for 30 years, and then during that time we have like so many advanced business models in different sectors. So because it's already like very mature and advanced in China, so I think it's a great way that we can bring this new models, business models internationally. So that's one aspect. Second is that it's actually a very, very competitive market inside China. So everybody can manufacturing, everybody can doing the innovation with a lot of technology. So for a lot of companies, if they're going to stay in China forever, the margin will be really narrow, and then they cannot make so much profits as previously because the market is already like very, very mature. So there's a way that they really need to do the globalization. And then third is that during this 30 years of development, we are having like a lot of the talent. So for example, this talent they graduated from top university in China and then also top university in internationally. So for example, when I was in Chile, I also saw a lot of students. They did exchange program in Chile University because they want to really export to the Chile culture, to the Latam culture. So we have a lot of these talents. So with them, actually, the new globalization of China will be more successful when we compare to previously.
And what would you say are when it comes to LATAM companies investing in China, operating in China, would you say that they are really there's an understanding of what China is right now, in modern times, what what the whole thing that China has to offer to the world? Would you say that there's a comprehensive understanding of what China represents right now in terms, I mean, for companies that are trying to open up markets in China?
Yeah, I think there's also opportunity because I just finished a delegation from Mexico. So this time we
Hmm.
have seven CEOs from different companies in Mexico. They just spent with us for 2 weeks in China. So we visit multiple cities in China. So this time they are coming with us because they saw this opportunity. So coming from this year, next year, we're going to bring other delegations potentially from Colombia, from Chile, from Argentina, from Costa Rica as well. So because when they're coming to China, like two opportunities. One is that they can say what China can offer when the Chinese companies want in their countries, and they can also introduce, for example, what to invest in Chile or in Colombia or etc. The second is that they also want to meet some potential Chinese clients because they want to expand, build their distribution channels in China. So this time it's like 2 weeks, very, very valuable for them. So they already saying that they will bring more clients and friends to China with us, and then they will be continue on the Chinese delegation from next year. So it shows that they also want to understand China, and then it's one of the biggest market for them, for the Latam countries, for the Latam companies. So I think we will have many things that we can do.
And also, when we talk about China, we in Latam, and I guess probably in most part of the world, of the world, we always think about the same cities, right? I mean, the largest cities, Beijing, Shanghai, and so on. But there are a lot of opportunities as well in smaller cities, in the countryside. I mean, the tier two, the tier three cities, no? So-called tier two, tier three cities. So, can you tell us about that a little bit? I mean, there's a whole world of opportunities as well in this other China, right? The other
Yes.
not so well known China that, and in the rest of the world.
Yeah, I think a lot of this kind of the cities I can share with them. For example, in the the northeast part of China, which called Jilin, it's very famous for manufacturing. This year, we introduced a lot of companies to go to Mexico because they are both very advanced in manufacturing, and then we hold a exhibition there with to the Mexican companies. And then also there's some middle cities in China, for example, Henan and then Hebei, and then Sichuan, Chongqing. These cities are very famous for energies and new energies. I think there will be also a lot of the opportunities that they can cooperate with Chile because this countries and the cities are both very famous for energies, for a lot of resources that we can work together. And then also we have a lot of cities on the west part, which is famous for sceneries. We also have, for example, very high mountains, very great sceneries, and then we also want to attract a lot of international tourism from Chile, from Argentina, that we share like a little bit similar sceneries. But then I think it's also an opportunity that for this kind of for these cities, they can also welcome the international tourists. And then also on the regions, the province near Hong Kong, so this is called Candong, and then Fujian. It's very famous, for example, doing the international trade and then doing the international tourism. So on that part, the cities hold the exhibition and a lot of conferences every year. For example, we took the Mexican delegation to the Xiamen exhibition conference. They can meet, for example, millions of companies there, so they can build the connections right in a way. So we have like a different parts of China. I think it will be very interesting for a lot of people in Latam to know like a little by little one poco of this different places.
And in that sense, I know that you recently participated in the China International Fair for Investment and Trade, the
Yes.
CIFIT. So, what can you tell us about that experience? What you say that participating in these types of events is important as well in order to get to know, better the country and the opportunities that it offers in other cities. I mean, not so well known cities like the ones that you just mentioned.
Yeah, I think that one is a very good one. So, for example, we can have three advantages. One is that every province, every city will have a counter of the exhibition. So they're going to say what they can offer in their cities. For example, is it the manufacturing? Is it the technology? Is it the robots? Or is it AI? Or what is it? So when the international guest can visit that exhibition saying like what every city is about. So it's actually very good opportunity to know about China. The second is that we also have this international information changing. For example, we have Mexico, Uzbekistan, Argentina, Chile, like a separate exhibition counter. So when the guests reach there, they can also know what are the bilateral relations between China and then Mexico, China and Chile, China and Argentina, etc. And then the third is that there will be like a lot of the government officers also they trying to explain the things in their province and cities on that exhibition. For example, you can talk directly to them to know about what are the tax benefits, or what are the policies, or what are the land benefits, or what are the labor costs, or what are the policy benefits they can give to different international companies. So it's actually a exhibition that was full of the information, knowledge, experiences, and networking. So it's very interesting. And then the Latam delegation we have, they also speak very highly highlight of that exhibition. For example, there's a CEO of a leading Mexican company. He used to just have like 20 contacts in his WeChat, but now from that meeting, he got 150. So it's
Oh,
like
wow.
5 times of what he can get previously. Yeah.
Excellent. So we're coming now to the end of our conversation, Alice. I would like you to finish with some sort of a statement as to the prospects, business prospects between China and Latin American countries. Are you optimistic for the, let's say, short mid-term in terms of investment in new sectors, in new industries? What are you foreseeing?
Yeah, I'll be actually I'm very, very optimistic. So as we can say, like from OrcaMar Strategies, we have a Spanish name in terms of company. So that is our commitment to the Latam country. And then I also just finished the Spanish course because I've been learning Spanish for over 3 years, but I'm still continue learning some Spanish every week to practice more so that I can be full participating in opportunities between China and Latam. And I also think I'll continue to, for example, being on the interviews and being introducing about business models from China to Latam, and I also bring the connections from Latam to China. So I'll be continuing doing that. And I really think people, we still have a lot of the information gap. And then for the companies like is consulting like yourself, like myself, we can build this bridge together. And then I'm really like the name that you're saying, you've been the bridge between East and West. We are also doing the same, and then I'm really, really looking forward to work together with the interview and with East Consulting. And then thank you very much, Luis.
My pleasure. Thank you, Alice. We've come to the end of our today's episode, and it's been really an insightful conversation, Alice. Thank you so much. I know it's late for you there in Beijing. And for all of our followers, don't miss out on our next episode where we will continue to explore the business opportunities between the East and West, connecting East and West. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Will. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you so much, Luis. Thank you.